Anxiety attack when reality comes back, coronavirus lockdown or quarantine is coming to some kind of conclusion. We're easing back into reality, even though the disease, the pandemic itself, is still present to a degree. Other conditions will now be coming to the forefront as we resume ordinary everyday life, if there is such a thing as ordinary everyday life anymore. Are you concerned? I'm a bit concerned. I've started to schedule a few things here and there. I've started to tentatively move back out into the world. And do you know what I've learned? Part of my anxiety disorder was as a result of civilization and society. It was elevating us up to an unlivable pitch. I'm a person who's had the good fortune and good privilege to be able to move out of a city. And I know a lot of you lot, you dig the city life, don't you? You love it. You love going to the Barbican and seeing an exhibition. You love wandering around the Momo, or maybe you go out for a cocktail or something. You love the city life. You like getting amongst it. You like the melting pot. Well, me, I know there's ancient cities, Mesopotamia, yeah, Cairo. I mentioned Mesopotamia a lot lately. I'm interested in it because the idea of fallen cities interests me because it's a good way of acknowledging the impermanence. We think everything is forever, don't we, somehow? But coronavirus has shown us that everything is temporary, that all reality breathes in, breathes out, gone again. New reality, moment to moment, like a breath leaving your body, like a cell being replaced in your human anatomy. But how do you feel? Do you feel nervous about going back? Yeah, I do. I like being holed up in a simple life. Has it not made you really want to? Has it not made you think that perhaps your anxiety is a result of not living in conditions that you're evolved for? That you have evolved to live in a relatively small group of people, cooperatively, in harmony with the seasons. I'm not suggesting that we swing our way back through time like Rousseauian Tarzans to the age of the noble savage, but we should try to find ways of aligning with these elemental truths that run through us, these needs that we have to feel connected to nature. Here's a bunch of tips and stuff that we got off of something called Healthline. I will critique them as I go along. This is from Jane Abelovska. She's an advisor for Click Pharmacy. God, that sounds a dangerous thing to have. A Click Pharmacy. Oxycontin, oxycontin, oxycontin. Is that how it's even pronounced? I gave up drugs a long time ago. The change from having a highly social work and personal life. Oh, right. The change from having a highly social work and personal life to nothing at all can be really detrimental to a person's mental health and may cause many people who are normally extroverted to feel like they're becoming introverted, like your belly button might flip back in or pop out, and not wanting to mix with others, said Jane Abelovska. Click pharmacy lady. There used to be a table there. Emily Anhalt, PhD, psychologist and founder of COA, agrees, noting that isolation is emotionally draining and can feed into social anxiety. Well, I'm anxious about not being isolated. I don't know about you, going out there, people touching you, the terror of it all. We're not going to be touching each other, are we? 2 meters, 1 meter. Have you cuddled anyone yet? Haven't you? I've done a few cuddles. 5 tips. Here's 5 tips for going back to life after you poor sod that you are, you've become all anxious and isolated. So I think how we all feel a little bit, is it? Do we all feel like that? Some people are desperate to get out there, aren't they, and get amongst it. Some people are holding raves. Did you see that? There's like 6,000 people rave somewhere in, I don't know, I think the northeast. 5 tips. Ease back into it. The idea is to give yourself a little taste of something that makes you anxious and then wait for the anxiety to calm down. That's a terrible tip. Just ease back into it. Give yourself a little taste of something that makes you anxious, then wait for the anxiety to calm down. Increase your exposure a little more. That's like a sort of a vaccine approach, huh? A little bit of the poison will do you the power of good, which in the case of some vaccines is a successful idea. But here, we're inoculating ourselves to our natural impulses to live a life that is more sacred, not necessarily a life of hermitude and isolation, but a life that we're adjusting to values that are somewhat arbitrary, if not arbitrary, deliberate, but not in alignment with our nature. Something like the reason that many of us feel anxious is because that's a voice in you saying, this ain't the way I'm supposed to be living. I don't want to do all this stuff. Perfectly reasonable voice. Here's another tip. Visualize situations in your head. Yeah, all right. Visualize. Hold on a minute. I've got a situation. What is it? Well, there's a duck. Over here, there's some people from the Muppet Show. Those guys. Is it helping you? Like, visualize situations that you're going to go through, obviously. Dr. Shapiro suggests challenge internal negative thought patterns with a reversal thought, either before or during anxiety-provoking situations. So if you're nervous about going out, think, no, it's going to be great going out. Is that what that is? Envisage it. Envisage yourself going down to Tesco Express, or if you're an American, Duane Reade, and having, it's a type of pharmacy, isn't it? And having just a wonderful time there. Allow yourself to be scared. Remember, no one has ever been through anything like this in the modern world, so no one really knows how to do it right. Even the experts don't have all the answers. It's normal to have uncertainties and doubts. In fact, that's something that I don't see as specific to our particular situation. I was taught the difference between neurotic fear and wisdom fear. Neurotic fear, a snake eating its own tail, tumultuous, no end to it. Wisdom fear and awareness that there's things that we need to change. There's things that we need to change. Practice self-cure. While we don't have a playbook, we can rely on coming back to ourselves in the present moment and making sure we have reliable spaces in our lives so we can navigate spaces that feel out of control. Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? That's, I suppose, the thing I've noticed when moving from a kind of a sort of single, peripatetic, wandering, lost life to this domesticated existence that I'm fortunate enough to have now, is that now I have a sort of a temple of the self. I have the shrine of the family. I'm somewhat free. Whatever it is your life is, you have to find ways of engaging the sacred in your own terms, but for me it is a sense of connection to all things, the beauty, the deep beauty of all things, that love and union are the deepest truth, not separation and opposition. If you can find that sacredness through some form of spiritual practice, that's a wonderful place to start. But obviously sacredness in relationship is significant, sacredness in the way that you work, an awareness as you walk into this world with the anxiety in your belly that something is talking to you, that there are deeper levels to reality. Wouldn't it be an extraordinary coincidence if we were born with the sensory instruments and the conscious capacity to appreciate reality in all of its myriad potentials? Of course, we know that's an absurd idea. We're living in a box of space and time, whilst the ultimate reality lays far beyond the grasp of our limited instruments. However, it does inform us on a deeper intuitive level. We will learn more about this through materialist science as time goes on, but for now, you're living it and experiencing it, and your only way to access it and make peace with it is going to be through the sacred. If you want to learn more about that kind of stuff, you can remember I've done that course. That course will help you. Have a look at some of my YouTube videos on dealing with anxiety and how to build a program, and have a look at some of the meditations I've done, like the one I've done with Deepak Chopra. Lovely meditation. I love you. Take it easy. Go back gently.